the conglomerate, a crazy lady, a shaman, and a cult. Hello, I am K-pop Walt, and welcome to my channel. So if you've been paying attention to K-pop news, I feel like you already know what's going on. Hybe has initiated an audit into Ador. This lady is a mess. She called a press conference. She showed up disheveled. She looks a hot mess. And now apparently there's shamans involved and a cult that apparently Bang PD is in. I don't even understand what's going on anymore. The whole thing is just super long. So I'm going to try and break it down and just give you my opinion on what I thought of the whole situation. And my first thought on the whole situation really is that both sides feel very disingenuous. I don't feel sincerity not from Hybe, and certainly not from Min Hee Jin's press conference. I watched that thing. I don't feel like she's being genuine. I feel like she showed up looking the way she did to gain sympathy from the audience, to gain sympathy from netizens. And I feel like she may have achieved that because I know the tides have kind of turned in her favor. But at the end of the day, it's just going to come down to who looks better in the public eye and who has better lawyers. This is very much giving Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard because nobody really knew who was telling the truth. Both sides were stark differences in terms of stories. They both had very different stories, but it ultimately came down to who had better lawyers. So Hybe initiated the audit because they suspected Min Hee Jin of trying to go independent and trying to leave the Hybe umbrella to be apart from them, I guess, to not really have to take orders from anyone. And they suspected that she was doing this by revealing contracts and very confidential files to outside parties and possible investors to try and get them to buy Ador shares from Hybe, which I'm assuming would have ended up in them backing her more than Hybe would and somehow getting Hybe out. So this is kind of the part that doesn't make sense because Hybe has 80% of Ador's shares. Min Hee Jin owns 18% of the shares and another executive has 2%. So the way I'm understanding it is for her to make Ador independent, it would kind of take a miracle, would it not? Please let me know in the comments if there is a way to become independent from a parent company with only 20%. Now, the rumor that I found interesting about this whole her leaving Hybe thing was that she was looking to find Saudi Arabian investors. She was trying to get investors from Saudi Arabia. And honestly, I think if this would have worked out, she might have been able to do it. She might have been able to go independent with Ador. Here's why. Saudi Arabia has been investing money in various things. They've been investing in entertainment, especially with them creating a Saudi Pro League, which is like a football league, as well as like investing in or allowing a lot more concerts and things to happen. They're investing in a lot of entertainment. So investing in Ador would not be out of pocket for them. It would be very much on brand with what they're doing currently, if I can say that. And if you know, you know, but Saudis have a lot of money to spend, to invest wherever they see fit. So having the Saudis invest and buy Hybe stocks for Ador is not that far-fetched. Like, I can kind of see it happening. But again, that was just a rumor that I found very interesting. What I do want to talk about is the press conference. She showed up at that press conference looking like a hot mess. I'm not gonna lie to you. She showed up, it looked like she hadn't washed her hair. It looked like she'd been crying all night. Eyes looked puffy. She had the cap as low as it goes. I mean, you're a CEO and you show up looking like that. That tells me one thing. You're here for sympathy. You're here for pity. You're here for public support. That's what it felt like to me. It felt very manipulative on her part. And she was saying, oh, I'm just a regular person. I don't do this thing. I was just like, Min Hee Jin, hun, please. You're trying to fool somebody, but it ain't me because I'm not fooled. And I really just did not like watching the whole conference. I did watch it, but I honestly did not enjoy it because I just felt like she was being very fake. Now, when the press conference started, the media was they were bombarding her with just taking pictures. The flashlight was all over the girl. Like, I would probably have a seizure watching that, like having to be in that position and all these flashes just flashing at me. And she does ask them to stop and they kind of don't. And she's just begging them to stop. And then she goes on to say, oh, is this how celebrities feel? Oh, this is so this is so that. And I'm just like, you debuted minors. Only now you're thinking about how celebrities feel. Your group, your new jeans, they're children. They have to go through this. And only now you want to ask this question as a grown-ass woman. Give me a break, Min Hee Jin. Now, one of the main talking points of the press conference was the texts between her and Bang PD and her and Park Jiwon, the CEO of Hybe. She showed the texts to the media that was there and I guess to the public. Now, there's a lot of things in the text, one of them being Bang PD saying to her, can she crush aespa in December? I'm assuming that was when aespa had a comeback and New Jeans also had a comeback. There were other things where Bang PD was asking really weird questions like, are you happy? Why are you laughing? And stuff like that. And I honestly do not understand most of the texts just because I feel like most of them are taken out of context. Like there's a full story behind it, but she gave us half text and then she added the context herself. And I'm like, if you do that, this is like a very one-sided story. She basically goes on to call Bang PD a snake. And she says that her and him don't see eye to eye. This is my interpretation of the press conference. She called him a snake. She called Park Ji-woon his lapdog. Because how she was explaining her relationship with Park Ji-woon was that he befriended her and she usually doesn't make friends within the industry, but he really wanted to be friends with her. And the whole time he was just trying to get her to do things that Bang PD was asking him to get her to do. That's kind of how I understood the press conference. You're free to understand it your way, but this is how I understood it. So she basically just called him Bang PD's lapdog. Now, another talking point was Hybe put out a statement saying that she was seeing a shaman and making decisions through a shaman about business that was happening in Ador. She says that she was having a conversation with a shaman friend and that the shaman friend was not making decisions on the company. Problem is, this ties in very much to what Hybe says about her sharing confidential things with third parties outside of Hybe and Ador. Now, what I hated the most about the whole press conference was that she was constantly bringing New Jeans in. I feel like this was very manipulative of her because New Jeans is very loved in South Korea. They're very successful. They have very catchy songs. Their songs are very well streamed. Like, they're a very profitable group. They're young. They're pretty. But in her attempt to gain sympathy from the public and public support, she goes on to talk about how the girls see her as a mother figure, or how she sees herself as a mother figure to the girls, and how they were calling her and they were worried about her and that they were crying on the call for 20 minutes. She said one of the girls was crying on the call for 20 minutes. She was saying that the parents were calling her to make sure that she's okay, to make sure that she doesn't try to kill herself. I'm just like, this woman can't actually be serious. She's dragging kids into her big ass mess. Kids who have nothing to do with this, because she basically ends up saying that they're worried about things that are going on in the company and they're saying that she should expose the stuff that's going on. I'm like, these girls know nothing about that. If you've been in K-pop long enough and you've stan groups and you understand how management works, you know that they have nothing to do with the business side of these companies. They show up, they're given a song and they're given a choreography with outfits, makeup, everything, and it's like, okay, you just have to get the choreography down, record in the studio, and then perform. That's what groups do. That's like most K-pop groups do. There are a few K-pop groups that obviously write for themselves and produce the stuff themselves, but for the most part, you are showing up, recording, learning a dance, and performing. So the New Jeans girls, especially because they're super young, they know nothing about what's going on. They know as much as we know, maybe a little bit more, but for the most part, they're not directly involved. She also talks about feeling like a mother or a mother figure to New Jeans, and I'm like, cut the cap, lady, cut the cap, because one of these girls is 15 or was 15 when they debuted. She was a child. A good number of these girls, and there's only 5 of them, so 3 of them are still minors. You cannot say that you feel like a mother figure. I don't care who says what. You cannot say that you feel like a mother figure when you're okay with debuting minors. You're okay with debuting children. Especially in K-pop, I don't think people understand the extent of what it means to debut minors in K-pop. There's so many things that happen behind the scenes. Not only that, but when you are in the public image, you are subjected to, well, praise and criticism and then hate, because K-pop fans like to hate, so you just get hate. And we're okay with subjecting kids to that. And Min Hee Jin is one of these people. You're okay with subjecting a 15-year-old to public criticism. My honest opinion on Min Hee Jin is that she is a narcissist. I don't want to lie to you. This whole press conference just felt like her saying, I'm good at what I do. I'm the best at what I do. Nobody's done what I've done. I'm great. It just felt like that. It felt like she was just constantly sharing with everybody how great she thinks she is. But then on top of kind of being a narcissist, she wants to be pitied and she wants people to sympathize with her. Oh, I made 2 billion won. Please sympathize with me. I'm like, are you joking, lady? Are you seriously joking? You made 2 billion and we're supposed to sympathize with you because Hybe is not paying you enough? She does go on to make it seem like Hybe is gonna try and sabotage New Jeans' comeback, which Hybe would not do that. New Jeans is a profitable group. They will not purposely sabotage a profitable group just to get back at you. This is where I found her narcissism. She's basically saying that they would sabotage girls that are entirely separate from this whole situation just to get back at her because New Jeans is her brainchild. I get that. New Jeans is her brainchild, and I think B-Lift Lab copying her concept and copying New Jeans' style and everything was kind of like a little bit of a low blow, but I'm like, you guys are in the same company. It was bound to happen at some point. Either somebody in Hybe was gonna do it or somebody outside. It was always going to happen because of the success that New Jeans has seen from this whole change in concept, this Y2K thing that nobody in K-pop has actually done. But it's not that original. Everything about New Jeans, and I'm not saying this to damage the girl's image or anything like that, but New Jeans' music, their style, this whole Y2K concept feels very much like Pink Panthers. I feel like a couple of people have said it, and I'm gonna also add to that. It just feels like Pink Panthers. If you go and listen to her music, it sounds like the kind of music New Jeans makes now. If you watch her visualizations, her music videos, everything that happened pre-New Jeans, it just feels like what New Jeans is doing now. So I'm just like, Min Hee Jin is going on about L.I.T copying from her and them stealing her very, very unique concept, this concept that she concocted in her head all on her own. And I'm just like, it just feels like you went to Pink Panthers' page and assumed that nobody would notice. Now we have to talk about the money part of the whole press conference. So in the press conference, Min Hee Jin says that Hybe said that they were paying her 5 billion won. This is all alleged. I cannot actually say that this is actually what happened, but she says that apparently Hybe said that she's being paid 5 billion won, whereas she only received 2 billion won. And Hybe came out with a statement to basically refute everything that happened, well, most of the things that were said in the press conference. And they said that yes, she did receive 2 billion won, but the 2 billion won was in incentives, and that her salary and long-term incentives were calculated differently. I just cannot understand why this woman would come out and say that she was earning 2 billion won and expect us to feel bad for her. She's trying to drag Bang PD through the mud, but I'm like, the man's been in the mud. He lives there. Like, there's no reputation to smear with Bang PD because it began smeared. He worked BTS to the bone. He was calling Jimin and the other members, he was asking them to diet, essentially calling them fat, because if you ask anybody to diet in K-pop, you're basically calling them fat, and they weren't even fat. And we're supposed to feel what? Sorry for you, no offense lady, but you earn 2 billion. And this isn't even calculating everything else apparently. Apparently the amount of money she earns cannot even be comprehended by us normal people. That's how much money it is, according to Hybe. I'm not saying this is true or false. I honestly don't know. Honestly, Min Hee Jin and Hybe deserve each other because I think it was very fun for them when New Jeans was making money, when New Jeans was the talk of the town. They are the it group right now, I think, in 4th gen when it comes to the girl groups. Them and Le Sserafim, I guess. And it was very fun when they were making all the money. And I think Min Hee Jin as well, when you were getting a lot of money from Hybe to do all the stuff for New Jeans, when they were helping you out with resources, when you were using their connections to get New Jeans everything that they have now. It was all fun, and now all of this is coming out and everything's blown to shit, and now everybody wants to cry in front of the media. I'm not buying any of it. I don't want to lie to you. New Jeans is her brainchild. I'll give her that. But the one time when she came out saying that New Jeans' success had nothing to do with Hybe and that it was all her, I just knew that Pandora's box had been opened and that from here it was downhill. Because I think it's very narcissistic of her to say that Hybe had nothing to do with New Jeans' success. Their connections, their resources, their money. Are you joking? Her concept alone did not make New Jeans popular. I'm sorry to say that. I think the girls are beautiful. I think they're very talented. But I do not believe that if New Jeans debuted under a small company, that they would have the success they have now, even with all the songs that they have. I do not believe that it would have happened like that. I think it would have been a completely different story. They could have been the miracle child, yes, but not to the extent that they're at right now. And I honestly think if you're a fan of New Jeans and you think that their success was in spite of Hybe's connections and resources, I hate to break it to you, but there's no way underage girls or teenagers get an ambassadorship from Gucci and Louis Vuitton and Burberry without Hybe connections, or at least big four connections. I would say maybe YG could get you that, JYP as well. But there's no way you do it without that kind of money, without those kind of resources, without those kind of connections. It just doesn't happen like that in K-pop. We've seen a lot of very talented groups fall into the cracks. Not a lot of people know who they are. They don't make a lot of waves because they don't have the resources. Their companies don't have the resources. They don't have the connections. They don't have the reach. And it's not to say that people are untalented. They are. It's just resources. And Min Hee Jin and her narcissism, her whole show might just be the end of her. Honestly, I think Hybe is going to use this as a way to bury her. Hybe literally goes on record to say that they don't think she's fit to run Ador. And the first thing she does is call for a press conference and show up looking the way that she showed up. I'm like, are you joking right now? They just said you're unfit to run the company. And then you want to show up talking about, oh, I almost killed myself. Oh, I almost did this. I'm like, you're a CEO. Show up in a suit. I know you want people to feel sorry for you, but no. Honestly, the whole thing showing up the way she did, I guess it's working in her favor right now. But when we go to court, is it going to work in your favor? That's the real question. Again, these are just my opinions. You are free to share yours with me in the comments. Until our next dance with K-pop, goodbye.